reciting Surah Al-Fatihah? Okay, Alhamdulillah, most of you have done the homework except for so 8 berapa orang tak buat? 8 tolak 2, 6. So 6% did not do your homework. Okay, because the class size is very small, therefore I can have a close track who is actually doing the homework, because I actually would like to have everyone from my class to pass the exam, okay, to pass the subject. But of course, most importantly, you gather some knowledge, okay, from the class. All right, so it's just that not for the sake of passing the course, okay. And I also know who are the repeaters, okay. So please make sure that you are in my close eye. So please make sure that you are doing your homework, okay. All right. So today what I'm going to do, I hope you have watched the recorded lecture, okay, and you have done your some readings when you do your exercise and so on. So of course, I'm sure you will be referring to your textbook, okay, so you have done your readings. All right, and those who are still using the previous textbook or old textbook, noted about some of the changes with regard to YA 2020, okay, because for the purpose of exam, we are following the rules or the law for YA 2020. Okay, so that's why in text, the book is actually changed every year. Okay, every year they revise the textbook because there are always certain part of the law change every year after the budget or even after the some of the announcement of tax policy, okay, fiscal policy. All right, so that's why every semester when they have we have exam, I would actually inform students which particular rule that we are going to follow. Okay, so that's why every semester the textbook will be changed, right? So basically, any question before I proceed? Any question from you guys?
No, madam.
All are very clear. Okay, self-assessment for companies tax estimate. Can everyone follow? I show the video, so that's why I put that in video so that you can actually follow step by step. Can everyone follow that? Do you have any question for that? Or maybe later on I will give some additional exercises for that part, okay, for that topic. Then you will know whether you can actually do it when it comes to the question. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Ada question?
I have a question, yes.
Yes.
Regarding the payment of tax, so is it monthly payments or just in a lump sum?
Okay. For individual or for corporate?
Both.
Both. Okay. All right. For individual, under self-assessment system, okay, for individual taxpayer, this is for employee, all right, for employee, because for individual, normally you're an employee. Okay, so if you're an employee, therefore you receive your salary from your company or employer. So what will happen is that every month from your salary, there will be monthly tax deduction. Okay, so they will follow certain schedule, one schedule. So in that schedule, they would actually see how much is your salary, whether you are married or not, and then if you are married, how many children would you have. So by looking at this information, they will know which column or which amount to be used as a guide to deduct against your salary. Okay, so that will be, the deduction will be done every month. Okay, so coming 30th April following year, when you do your submission, then normally you already know how much is your actual tax payable. Okay, Then you will compare against your total monthly deductions that you have done for the past 12 months. And from there, you will know how much will be the balance of tax that you still need to pay. Okay, so this later on in the computation, you will see when we do employment income or when we do personal taxation tax computation. Okay, so that is for an individual taxpayer. Okay, for company, it's also the same thing. All right, because to pay lump sum is actually a burden to the taxpayer, especially corporate when their amount of tax is much bigger compared to individual taxpayer. So that's why if you watch the tax estimate video, that is actually how the company compute their monthly installment. Okay, because business from one company to another company, their profit amount is different. Okay, therefore they have to estimate how much is their tax based on whatever estimated profit. And then from there, they break it out into monthly installments. So they pay on monthly basis. And again, after the year end, they are given 7 months to complete the submission. So during the submission, they know how much is their actual tax payable. Therefore, compared to the total 12 months of monthly installment, then they will know how much will be the balance of tax that they need to pay. Okay, so basically, the balance that you have to pay will be in a small amount. Okay, so it's not a big lump sum figure where you pay immediately. All right, and there are cases whereby sometimes after you compare your actual tax payable against total monthly installment, it might be negative, meaning you already pay more than what you have to pay. Sorry, you already pay installment more than what your liability, okay, that you were supposed to pay at the end of the submission time to the income tax. So whatever the refund, the difference can either be refunded or it will be carried forward. So again, we will see all this scenario when we do computation later on. All right? Okay?
Clear, madam. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, if there is no more, any more? All right, let's say when I discuss later on when I explain and so on, if you have any question, you don't want to interrupt, you can use chat. Okay, you can use chat column, just put in your question over there and then I will pick up from there. Okay, or else you can just stop me. Okay, so it's up to you, whichever method that you want to use in order to ask question. Because what happened is that today I discuss or I show you the example for resident status. After that, that's it. I'm not going to come back to this topic and repeat again. Okay, because next week we are going to another new topic already. Okay, so that's why every time the plan is that the first during the week, the first class you are given recorded lecture, so you are supposed to watch, and I will give you tutorial question where you are supposed to do, because that will be your homework. Okay, so when you watch and you do your exercise, of course you refer to your textbook. You should be able to know where you start, where you have problems and so on. So when come to the second class, I will do tutorial like this. Okay, I will discuss not all questions, we can't afford, but at least 1 or 2 questions. And from there, you can actually post whatever problems that you have when you do your exercise. Okay, so that's why text, you must do your exercise. Then only you know whether you understand or not. Okay, because when I explain, it looks easy, Okay, but when you do it, it's actually terrible. Okay, so that's why it's a must for me. Whoever have attended my class, they know, especially during face-to-face, I always check one by one, just like I did just now. So I managed to check all of your work because I want to know what are the problem when you do your work on. Okay, so these are the tutorial question. Okay, I'm using the Excel to explain. Okay, so can everyone see PDF and also Excel on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm sharing the screen, so I hope you can see that. Okay. All right. Okay, from your exercise, okay, I noticed which is common. All right, common errors that student always do first time when you do your homework. Okay, so first thing, when you answer resident status, we have format to follow. Okay, why I say that you have to follow that format? Because when in Malaysia, okay, in our when you work in a tax agent firm, all right, when you are dealing with the income tax office, our LHDN, Inland Revenue Board, okay, so when we want to submit, okay, because sometimes you work for the expatriate, as an individual taxpayer who are foreigners, so we want to show that to the tax officer, these foreigners who are an expatriate is actually a resident. So we will do this testing, quantitative test to prove that he is actually a resident. Okay, so when we submit to the income tax office, these are the format that we must use. Okay, these are the format that we must use. So this, whatever that we taught during the class is actually what being applied in practice. So that when you go for practical training, it so happen you work in tax department, then you know, okay, what are the practice format, okay, that they normally use. All right. Okay, so format, you must follow the standardized format. Okay, and then another thing, you notice there are temporary absence, right? Okay, so this is actually reflect the number of days that that particular individual not in Malaysia. Okay, so normally my advice, don't put this period, okay, inside the table. All right, because I don't want you to be careless where you might carelessly included this number of days in your computation of total number of days. Okay, all right, because in exam you will never know, all right, you're rushing whatsoever, so you might overlook. So I'm just would like to reduce your tendency to do careless mistake. All right, so that's why my advice, because it's only working for you to test whether there is a link to or link by. So it is actually workings. All right, it is actually workings, therefore you can put it outside the table as working. All right, okay, and then another thing, when you have 7.1b, please indicate, all right, please indicate when you determine that individual for that YA is actually resident by virtue 7.1b. So for the purpose of exam, because I want to know you know or not, okay, you're not just tembak je, okay, so please make sure that you indicate, is it linked to or is it linked by? Okay, because normally there will be marks given. All right, so for marking purpose. Okay, so those are the things that I would like to highlight based on my observation just now. So what I did just now, I just see overall. I don't check whether your answer is actually correct or not. Okay, I can afford to do that. All right, so later on, when I show you the example, then you can actually see whether what you are doing, your understanding is actually aligned to what you are supposed to understand. Okay, so now let's try question number 1. Okay, so this is question number 1 based on the tutorial question given to you. All right, so this will be the format. So the first one, the first column will be year of assessment. Second column will be periods. Okay, periods of stay. And then number of days in Malaysia. Okay, and then after that you put section. Then after that you put status. Okay, so these are the format that you are supposed to follow. Okay, number of days, section and status. All right. Okay, I hope you can see. Okay, so for year of assessment, you must know this is individual, right? Okay, so this is individual. So if let's say you're talking about YA 2012, so it's actually referred to which period? Okay, it refers to which period? It should refer to calendar year and the year 2012, meaning you're talking about periods of stay of that person between 1st January, okay, 2012 until 31st December 2012. Okay, so these are the periods, all right, within that calendar year that you are looking for. Okay, so every time when you do your periods, you have to indicate the year of assessment, because we want to know that you know which periods that fall under which particular year of assessment. Because if it is wrong, then your answer also will be wrong. All right. Okay, when talking about assessment status, you have many years of assessment because we are testing you for a few years. Okay, so in this example, we have Mr. Brian, a British, first came to Malaysia on September 14 to work in a hotel near KLIA. His patterns of stay in Malaysia were as follows. Okay, so here, the first time that he came to Malaysia will be September 14. Okay, so that's September 14. Included or considered as he is actually present in Malaysia? Yes. Okay, because sometimes question might say, okay, he first came to Malaysia on September 14, but he started his work in the hotel on 23rd September. So which date will you take? Is it the day that he started working, or is it the day that he first arrived in Malaysia? First arrived in Malaysia. Okay, so normally that is very important. The first day that you come to Malaysia, that will be the first starting number of days that you will be counted. Okay, so here you are given patterns of stay. So it's easier because you are given this pattern. So what do you need to do? You only need to fill out in accordance to respective year of assessment. Okay, so let's do one by one. So the first period he stayed from 14 September 2012 until 25th March 2013. So do you put here 25th March 2013? Do you put like this? No, right? Okay.
Until the end of the year.
So because you know this is YA 2012, right? So it must be here up until 31st December 2012. All right, so meaning 1st January 2013 until 25th March 2013 will be in the following YE. Okay, clear? All right. So that's how it works. Okay, so you follow in accordance to the calendar year. Okay, then he attended meeting in Korea. Was he in Malaysia? He was not in Malaysia. Okay, so to be safe, not to avoid not to do any careless mistake, just ignore first. Okay, and then after that, he was in Malaysia also from 3rd April 2013 until 5th July 2013. Okay. And then any more in 2013? No more. Then after that, 2014. So 2014, he was in Malaysia from 4th February 2014 until 31st May 2014. Okay, and then he go out and then he come back on 19 October 2014 and then still until 22nd December 2014. Right? Okay. That's it for 2014. And then any more? So the next will be YA 2015. So YA 2015, he was here in Malaysia from 2nd January 2015 until 10th of May 2015. Okay, and then from 19th of August 2015 until 6th March, right? So here you have to stop until 21st December 2015. So you will start again 1st January 2015 until 6 March 2016. So this will be for YA 2000.
This one 16.
Sorry?
First January 16.
All right. January 16. Yes, correct. Okay, and then he was here again on 28 September 16 until 31st December 16, and then coming 17 until 13th February 17. Okay, and then going out, then coming back again 25th February 17 until 12th April 17. Okay, so this will be for YA 2017. Alright, okay. And then Brian resigned from his job and returned to Britain on April 12, 2017. So April 12 already here included, okay. April 12, 2017. So he has gone back. And after that, he came back, okay. On June 4th, 2019, he returned to Malaysia. Okay, he returned to Malaysia. So meaning that now in 2018, he was not here, okay, in Malaysia. Right? So if you are not here in Malaysia, you must also indicate that year of assessment, just put dash in the period, means that there is no number of days in Malaysia that he was in Malaysia. Okay, 2019. Then you come in on 4th June 2019 and then stayed for the rest of the year 2019. So meaning that he stayed until 21st December 2019. Okay, so what is actually required? So this is the standard question. Okay, so the question will be determine the resident status for all relevant years of assessment up to year of assessment 2019. Okay, so you have to know which years of assessment that you must include in your answer. Okay, now, so the next step after you fill up all the periods, so the next step will be compute the number of days. Okay, so number of days, you have to know which year is a leap year. That is one. Okay, which year is a leap year? How do you know the year is a leap year? You take the year, you divide by 4. If your answer is decimal, then that is not a leap year. When your answer has no decimal, then that year is a leap year. Okay, like 2012, you divide by 4. Alright, the answer is not in decimal. Therefore, 2012 is actually a leap year. So what happened with the leap year? Leap year February will be 29. Okay, because when you calculate, okay, let's say the answer is 182, but you forgot to compute February as 29, so your answer become 181 days. Okay, so by right, your answer will be resident by virtue 71A, but because you missed that one day, your answer is wrong. Okay, so that is one. Secondly, you must know which month has 31 days, which month would be 30 days. Okay, all right. So let's count it. Okay, let's count the number of days for each period. Okay, here you come in on 14 September. So in September, how many days you have? Okay, September you have 30 days, right? Okay, so 30, what do? You minus 19, then after that you plus 1 back. Okay, instead of counted 14, 15, 16, 17 until 30, okay, so you can just do like this. Okay, you have to plus 1 back when you minus.
Madam,
okay. Yes.
minus 14.
Oh, minus 14. Minus 14. Okay, minus 14. All right, because there is 14. So minus 14. Then you plus 1 back. So don't forget to plus 1 back for computation for number of days. Okay, so for September, that is the formula. And then for October, how many days? October 31 days. November 30 days. December 31 days. Okay, so 100, 109. Okay, all right, so number of days will be 109. Okay, just do everything first. Don't look at the section first. All right, here how many days? So January 31, and then plus February plus March will be 25th. So 84. And then here, so in the month of April, how many days? 30 days minus 3 plus 1 plus May will be 31, and then June 30, and then July 5. Okay. Okay, and then here February 2014, is it a leap year? Is it a leap year or not? No. Okay, so minus 4 plus 1, February, and then March, and then April, and then May. Then here October is 31 minus 90 plus 1, and then April, October, November, and then December 22. And then here is January 30, February 28, March, April, and then May. And then August 31 minus 19 plus 1. August, September, October, November, December. Okay, and then here, January 2016, is it a leap year?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, and then 6. Okay, and then September is 30 minus 28 plus 1 plus October plus November plus December. Okay. Okay, and then January plus February will be 13. And then 25th. 28 minus 25 plus 1. Okay. This year. Is 4 plus 1. 5 plus 2. No, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, alright. Okay, so once you have done all this, okay, then only you start looking, okay, the respective year of assessment, what is the status? Okay, 109. Okay, 109. Let's go back to section. Okay, let me check. Okay, if you refer to the summary of the resident status, you have 7(1)(a), B, C, and D. So when you do a testing of the quantitative testing, don't jump to D, don't jump to C. You go A, B, C, D. Okay, you go by A, B, C, D. All right, so how do I do? Okay, this is how I normally do. Okay, so 109. Okay, under 7(1)(a), is this fulfill 7(1)(a)? Under 7(1)(a), you must have 182 days, right? So here, this is less than 182 days. Okay, therefore, is this can be resident by virtue 7(1)(a)? No, okay, because it has less than 182 days. Therefore, you move to another section, okay, which is 7(1)(b). Okay, under 7(1)(b), okay, under 7(1)(b), you have to see, is it linked in the following year or in the preceding year that you are in Malaysia or not? Okay, so for this case, Okay, you are 2012 is your first year in Malaysia. Therefore, you look to the following year. So the following year is 2013. Okay, the following year is 2013. So here you are here in Malaysia in 2013. All right. So in 2013, so what do we need to do? Okay, this is 7.1b that when I tell you is working, right? Okay, this is how actually the working can be done. Okay, so here is the short period. Okay, under 7.1b, you are talking about the short period. Okay, here you have the minimum 1 day short period. Okay, so it can be just, your short period can just be 1 day. Maybe when you come in 2012, you only come on 31st December. So that also by that virtue of 1 day, that YA 2012 can still be resident. Okay, all right. So that is a short period, and then you are actually seeing that short period, is it linked to or linked by? So in this case, you have following year. So when following year, you're actually looking at link to. Okay, you're actually looking at link to. All right. So this is actually referred to link to. Okay, because you have the following year. All right. Then after that, you see, you must have that link to must be linked to what? Linked to a period of 182 or more consecutive. Okay, you must have, your short period must be linked to long period, and this long period must be minimum 182 or more, and it must be consecutive. Okay, what does it mean by consecutive? Meaning, if let's say during that long period, okay, during that long period, there is an absence. Okay, there is an absence. There are 3 conditions of absence that can be considered or deemed to be included in computation of 182 consecutive days. Okay, so this is only where temporary absence will be included in computation of 182 consecutive days. So what are the 3 absences that allowed? Number 1, okay, you go outside Malaysia for whatever matters, okay, and normally related to your employment in Malaysia. Okay, it must be related to your employment in Malaysia, so you can go. In this case, there is no restriction number of days. Okay, and then secondly, you go outside Malaysia because you are ill. Okay, maybe you go and see the doctor outside Malaysia, or you go back to your home country whatsoever. Okay, or maybe because you go back to your country because you want to see your immediate family who are ill. Okay, who are this immediate family? If you are married, your immediate family will be your spouse and your children. Okay, your spouse and your children. If you are not married, then it will be your parents. That's all. Other than that, it will not be considered as immediate family. Okay, all right. So for these two, there is no restriction number of days. Okay, however, the third category of absence, which is social visit, then this is the one that has restriction of maximum can be included in the computation is only 14 days. Okay, so this is where the situation when your social visit is there to within that period of 182 days, but it so happen you have exceed 14 days, then your long period would not have consecutive. Okay, your long period would not have consecutive. Therefore, there is no link to a long period. Okay, you cannot establish your 182 consecutive days. Okay, so this is where your temporary absence is actually would be relevant in computation. So that's why I said only use temporary absence in your working for 7.1b. Okay, all right, let's look at here. Okay, coming back to the question. So he was there in Malaysia, short period is 109, and then now here, okay, So here there is a gap. Okay, there is a gap. So 25th March, he going outside Malaysia. So based on the question, it stated that from 26 March 2013 until 2nd April 2013, okay, he was actually outside Malaysia. Okay, he was actually outside Malaysia, attended meeting in Korea. So you go to Korea. So is that so that is actually absence lah. Okay, absent because he was not in Malaysia. So the question is that is this temporary absence allowable or not? Based on the three conditions just now.
Yes, allowable.
Yes, allowable because why? Because when you attended meeting, normally meeting will be related to your job. Okay, so therefore this one can be included. Okay, so how many days? All right, so this one can be included. So what will happen is that so in the March, what you have 31 minus 26 plus 1, then plus April 2 days. So you have 8 days. So the 8 days is actually your absence, temporary absence, but this is allowable. Okay, do you have any more absence? So on the 3rd April, he came back and stayed until 5th July. So how many days already total here? 186. Okay, so the total will be 186. So now, okay, and so I repeat, I recap the whole thing. So now this is your short period. Okay, and this short period, you see you have a link to a long period in 2013. And in this long period, you have, okay, you have 182 days or more consecutive. Why you say consecutive? Even though you have gap here, this gap or this absence is actually allowable because this absence is fall under the category which is accepted temporary absence. Okay, therefore you can say that your long period has a consecutive 182 days. Okay, and because of this, in 2012, can you be resident? Okay, can you be resident in Malaysia?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so now you can be resident in Malaysia by section what?
Section 71B.
Okay, 7.1b, is that enough?
No.
Link to.
Link to. Okay, so you must put like this. All right, so resident by 7.1b link to. Okay, all right, so this is how we determine resident status for 2012. Okay, is that clear? Okay, is that clear, everyone? Any question? Okay, no question, All right, I want just to change a little bit the scenario, before I go back to the exercise just now. Since we are still talking about 7.1b, just to make you understand better how to determine the consecutive, All right, let's say, okay, so here you have temporary absence, which is meeting. So this is accepted, all right? And then let's say, from 3rd April, okay, until let's say 22nd April. Okay, you temporary absence, but this is for social visit. So you only came back in Malaysia on 22nd, so this will be 23rd. So let's say this one will be until 25th July. Okay, all right. So here, okay, you have this scenario. Okay, what is happening now? Okay, right, so I changed the scenario a bit. Okay, now you have temporary absence. So let's say from the meeting, okay, from Korea just now, he fly for holiday. Okay, he fly for holiday and then only come back to Malaysia on 23rd April. Okay, 23rd April. So here, how many days of absence here? So 26 Second minus 3 plus 1. So you have 20 days here. Alright, so you have social visits of 20 days. Okay, so this one how many days? 30 plus 23. And then okay, so okay. Okay, right. So you have this scenario, eh? Okay, you have your short period, you have your long period. Okay, so your long period, do you have consecutive?
No.
Okay, do you have consecutive? Did you meet, okay, the consecutive 182 days consecutive or more? Okay, in this
No.
case, no. Okay, why?
No.
Because
Because
here, your social visit exceed 14 days. Okay, your social visit exceed 14 days. But if let's say the scenario is 84, then you have 8 here, then here you have 14. Okay, or perhaps here you have 100. Okay, so in this case, would you have consecutive? Okay, can you say that here you have consecutive? Though you
Yes.
have social visits, but here is 14 days. So can this be considered as consecutive? Yes.
madam.
Okay, because here temporary absence here is allowable. Temporary absence for 14 days is also allowable. So since all this allowable, therefore, then you have consecutive. Okay, all right. Okay, just one more thing I want to explain because now I only show that the temporary absence in one period. Just to make things, because sometimes you might have this kind of scenario. Let's say, for instance, you have 84 is your number of days in Malaysia, then you go for meeting, and then after that, you come back to Malaysia. Let's say you stay for 43 days, and then you have social visits of 4 days outside Malaysia. So these are the temporary absence, which is social visit. And then you have coming back to Malaysia 25 days. And then you have another temporary absence of social visits of, let's say, 13 days. Okay, and then let's say here you have your stay in Malaysia. Okay. All right, so this period, do you have consecutive or not?
No.
No. No.
Okay, do you have your consecutive or not?
consecutive.
Okay, if I compute from here up to here, you only have 177 days. So meaning you still need another 5 days from here, right? To get your what is this? 182 days here, all right? Okay, do you have consecutive here? If you have this scenario,
No.
you have temporary absence here, meeting. Okay, you have temporary absence here, social visit, and here social visit. All right, so you have 3 different temporary absence, but 2 social visits. Okay, so in total, your social visits here is 17 days because these are first social visits, these are the second social visits. So total social visits within this long period is 17 days. Okay, therefore, 17 days exceed your 14 days. So automatically, this one is no longer can be accepted. Then automatically here 182 days you don't have consecutive because this one cannot be included. Okay, this one cannot be included, so you don't have consecutive. Consecutive means your what is this? There is a continuation. Okay, there is no break in between where it is not allowable break in between. Okay, so that is actually how to determine your 7.1b. So that's why I say working for 7.1b, you do it outside table. Okay, so that you know whether your long period, whatever the temporary absence is actually allowable or not allowable. Okay, all right.
Now I have a question.
Yes.
What if you put 100 days instead of 25?
Sorry, what is
100 days instead of 25 days.
100? Here is 100, is it? Here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what would be the situation?
100. Okay, if 100 from what point here? Okay, if you see here, the sum is already 139, right? So how many days do I need more to come to 180? Because 182, because minimum your consecutive must be minimum of 182 days. So if I count from here to here, I already have 139. So to come to 182, I need only another 43 days. So 43 days is actually taken from here, isn't it? So do you need to look at this? No need already. So this one can just be ignored. Okay, this one can just be ignored because this is the one that will be sufficient already for you to have 182 days. Okay, so that's why the long period minimum is 182 days. So the most important thing is that for you to know there is a consecutive, you only see for that first 182 days, do you have consecutive or not? Okay, 182 days, if you change into month, okay, you divide by 30. How many months actually? About 6 months, right? Plus minus, about 6 months. So roughly you know, if you're looking at long period from January, so roughly you up until 30th June. Okay, or at least the first few days of July. All right, okay. So therefore from there you know already whether up to what period only you need to look for your 182 days. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, yes, but the social visit in aggregate is 14. So
yes, in aggregate is 14. Okay, so that's why if you see somewhere in the textbook they did mention, it must be in aggregate. Here you see, social visits 14 days is in aggregate. That's what you mean by in aggregate. Meaning, your social visit can be break into few periods. Okay, it can be break into few periods. Maybe you always like going out. Okay, you work in Johor, you always go to Singapore. Okay, because Singapore nearby, right? So you just go and then come back. Go and then come back. Okay, so maybe you have few times of going outside Malaysia and then coming back for your social visit. So that's why it can be multiple periods within that long period. Okay, is that clear?
Madam,
Any more question? Yes.
madam, let's say in 2014.
2014, tak sampai lagi.
No. Yang section atas tu.
Wait, I have not yet come to that 2014. I just want to settle this.
Oh, no. Okay, let's say 2012 is let's say the 2012 is section 71A.
Okay.
And 2013 is section 71A2. Okay. So for the temporary absence, we will put dash or we'll still
You don't put. If you see when I do my table, do I include this temporary absence period in the table or not?
No.
I don't put. I don't put. So that's why I don't put it inside the table. That's why my advice, my style, because I don't want students to get confused. So did not put any temporary absence inside the table. You only include here in your workings. This is actually workings for 7.1b. This is working for 7.1b. So that's why only in working 7.1b, then only you need to include the temporary absence. And I put here red so that you know the difference. If you refer to textbook, they put in bracket. Okay, if you refer to textbook, you can see example, they put that temporary absence in bracket just to differentiate. This is actually, you are not present in Malaysia, but for the purpose of testing 182 consecutive, then we include that number of days. That's the reason why we differentiate that temporary absence. Okay, all right, never mind. Up to this point, can you do you understand?
Yes. But one more, madam.
You nak tengok link by
Oh no. So the example in the highlight we highlighted 84 plus 8 43
Yes.
so it's already 182.
Yes.
So you said that the balance 30 and 5 will ignore already.
Yes.
Which will be ignored. So when we calculate the number of days, so we have to add the 13 and 5 or we just ignore.
When you compute number of days for this YA 2013.
Yes.
Okay, for YA 2013, you only add the black number. For the purpose YA 2013, okay, for the purpose YA 2013, I repeat, for the purpose of YA 2013, when you compute number of days, you only add black number in black color only. Because you only want to know how many days you are present in Malaysia. Okay, all right, so never mind. So that's why you don't confuse with other computation in the table. This one is only for working 7.1b. Okay, so if up to this, you can understand. So make sure you are clear on that. Okay, I will show you later link, because here is link 2, and later maybe there are example of link by. Okay, all right, let's come back here. So here, coming back here, so here, 109, are you resident in Malaysia? Okay, are you resident in Malaysia? Yes, okay, you are resident in Malaysia by, this is 7.1, 7.1b, which is link 2. Okay, status will be resident. Right? Okay. And then now coming back here. Okay, here total 178. So for YA 2013, you only present in Malaysia by 178. Okay, so are you resident by virtue 71A? Can you be resident for 2013? Can you be resident by virtue of 71A? Did you fulfill minimum 182 days?
No.
Okay. Okay. Then B. Under B, all right, you have less than 182 days. Therefore, you see, do you have link to or link by? Okay, you have preceding year. Okay, in the year before, okay, in the preceding year, you have this 109. Okay, so this will be considered as your short period, isn't it? 84. All right, because this is the nearest to 31st December. All right, so this is 84, your short period. Therefore, this should be your long period. So is your long period have more than 182 days or more consecutive? You don't have, right? Okay, because here is only 109. Therefore, you cannot establish the link by. Okay, you cannot establish your link by to the preceding year. And then you check further, do you have your link to? Okay, it's very far from July here. Okay, there is a gap, which is question. Did question mention anything? Okay, for the gap, all right, question did not mention anything. So we assume the gap here, the absence here is actually not allowable. Therefore, you cannot establish there is a link to here, to the year 2014. So, therefore, this 178 cannot be resident by virtue 71B. Okay, because you cannot establish your link by and link to. Okay, then go to 71C. Okay, 71C, what does it say? 71C, minimum in that current year of assessment, you must have minimum 90 days. So do you have minimum 90 days here? Yes, you have, right? So that is the first condition. Okay, first condition, you must have minimum 90 days. Second condition, 3 out of 4 immediate preceding year. So you must have at least 3 preceding year. Do you have 3 preceding year? You don't have. Okay, you don't have 3 preceding year, you only count year before. So, can you be resident by 71C? No, because you cannot fulfill conditions of 71C. And then 71D, okay, 71D says that, okay, this is actually 71D refer to when you are not present in Malaysia at all in that year. Okay, when you are not present at all in Malaysia in that year. So because of that, did you fulfill 71A? No. Did you fulfill 71B? No. Did you fulfill 71C? Also cannot because not enough condition. Then 71B, 71D also no. Then in that sense, you are non-resident. Okay, so you go step by step, A, B, C, D. Okay, clear? Right, then next one. Okay, this one how many days? 182 days. Okay, all right. So YA 2014. Okay, here total number of days that you are in Malaysia based on the periods given just now, you have 182 days. So 71A, did you fulfill 71A?
Yes.
Okay, 71A minimum 182, right? So this one already fulfills 71A. Then definitely here you will be resident by 71A. And here you will be resident. Okay. So that's how you do your testing of resident. Okay, then next one. So this one total 264. Okay, 264. All right. 71A. What is the minimum? 182 days, right? So are you resident by 71A? Yes, because you meet the minimum of 71A. Okay. So you are resident by 71A. Okay, let's look at this one. So total sum is 161. Okay, 161, Alright, 161. A, did you fulfill? No, because it's not reached even 182. Okay, 71B. Okay, you have 71B here. You have here 1st January until 6 March, you have your short period 66 days. You check to your preceding year. Okay, you check to your preceding year, then you have this 135 days. But therefore, you still need another how many days to complete your, you have still need few days, right, to complete your 182 consecutive. Okay, so you have the gap here. Okay, what's the question say about the gap? The gap is between 19 August, so between here, right? Okay, between 10 May until 19 August. So the gap is silent by the question. So when the gap is silent by the question, that means we assume that the gap is actually non-allowable gap, or the absence is non-allowable absence. Okay, so in that case, can you establish your long period has a minimum 182 consecutive days? Okay, you cannot establish, right? You cannot establish because 135 is not enough to come to minimum 182 consecutive. Therefore, you cannot establish this short period to the long period here. Okay, to get your consecutive or link by. Okay, and then now check on, you are here 31st December. So we check against link 2. When we check against link 2, so here 31st December you are here in Malaysia, and then next year you are also here from 1st January until February. Okay, and then from February until April. Alright, so here, so this will be your short period, this will be your long period. Okay, so your long period, you have absence in between. You have also absence here after April. So go back to the question. Okay, between 14th February and 24th February, okay, you going back to Britain to visit your father is ill. Okay, so this is what? Social visit. Okay, because you visit your father who are ill, right? Okay, so let's assume he is married. So this social visit is how many days? 24 minus 4 is 11 days. Okay, so 11 days is allowable social visit, isn't it? So you have the gap here. Okay, so let's say I just do the workings here. So you have how many days? 11 days of social visit. So by adding all this, do you have adequate minimum 182 consecutive? You still don't have. But here you have your absence, which is don't know what happened. Okay, it's a silent. Alright, basically you have gone back. Okay, you have gone back. So basically here you are no longer in Malaysia. Okay, which is absence that it is not allowed. So do you have consecutive for long period here? You don't have. Okay, therefore, to establish your link to also cannot. Okay, so link by cannot, link to also cannot. Then what will happen? So you cannot go by 7(1)(b). Okay, you cannot go by 7(1)(b). So we move on to 7(1)(c). What 7(1)(c) says? In the year that, in that year of assessment, you have minimum 90 days. Okay, do you have minimum 90 days here? Okay, you have 161 days. Okay, you have 161 days. So you fulfill the first condition of 90 days. Second condition, 3 out of 4. Okay, just check your 3 preceding year. Okay, must be either resident or if you are not resident, you have 90 days in Malaysia. Okay, the second condition, how do you read is like this, minimum 3 preceding year. So indeed, in that 3 preceding year, so you have here, 1. Okay, you have 1, you have 2, you have 3. Okay, so the question, the criteria or condition says that you can be resident. All. So here resident, can it be counted? Yes. Okay, here you are non-resident, but you have more than 90 days. Okay, you have 90 days. So can this be counted? Yes. So do you have your 3 preceding year which is fulfill the condition of 7(1)(c)? Yes. Okay, so you have more than 90 days. 3 preceding year is either resident, these 2 resident, or 90 days. These are 90 days. So this will be resident by virtue 7(1). Sorry. Right. So that's how you do for 7(1)(c). Okay, so here you will be resident. All right. So you are clear how to determine 7(1)(c)? Okay, so that's how we determine 7(1)(c). Okay, all right. Then move on, 2017. Okay, 2017, how many days here? 91 days. Okay, 7(1)(a), do you fulfill? All right, do you fulfill 7(1)(a)? No, right?
No.
7(1)(b)? Okay, 7(1)(b) is your short period. Okay, and then go back to your long period. So long period, go back to the question. Go back to the question. So this between March to September. Between March to September, this is the gap, right? So question silent. So meaning the absence is non-allowable. So when there is a gap which is disallowed, so you cannot establish your consecutive 182 days. Therefore, you cannot here establish your link by. Okay, so then cannot be resident by 71B. So next 71C. So 71C says what? In that year you are having 90 days. So here you have 91, right? So yes, okay, you have meet the first criteria. Second criteria, 3 preceding year is resident. So 1, 2, 3. So you already have 3 and 3 is all resident. So you already fulfill second condition. Okay, second condition of 71C. Then, so this will be resident by 71C. Okay, all right. So that's how you do to determine for 71C. Okay, then 2018 number of days no, so temporarily it will be non-resident. Okay, or you can just leave it blank first. Okay, now 2019 you have 211, so go to 71A. Did you fulfill 182 minimum?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so therefore this will be 713. So you will be here resident by 713. Okay, so here will be resident. Okay, so settle. So once you have done all this, so what do you do next? Last thing that you do, you go through your table. Okay, you go through your table, you see which year of assessment that's still. Okay, so normally you put like this lah. Okay, in your question, in your working, this one still in question. Is it resident or not? Okay, because we have one question, one condition. Okay, according to 71D, current calendar year not required, meaning in that year you don't require for a single day to be present in Malaysia. That means you are never present in Malaysia. Okay, however, 3 immediate preceding year you are resident and you are also resident for the following year. So what does this mean? It means 3 preceding. So 3 preceding will be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this will be, this will be the 3 preceding year where you are resident and the following year is also resident. Okay, so 3 preceding year resident, following year resident. So by virtue 71D you are resident. Okay, by virtue 71D, here you will be resident. Okay, so D normally you do it last. Alright, after you have done for all the year, then only you see which year that you have kept like this. That's why when you do your table, if let's say in between there is no presence of period of stay in Malaysia, right? You still put your year of assessment. Okay, very common, students forget to put this. So they also, when they do analysis like just now, there is no gap because when you did not put, you did not identify there is a gap. So you miss this one. So you miss your marks. Huh? Okay, right. So that's how we do resident status. Okay, any question? Okay, any question? Can follow?
Clear, madam. Thank you.
Madam, I have question.
Yes.
For the temporary action
Okay.
visit ill father, why is for under social visit? Why not health under point B, owing to ill health involving?
Okay, assuming that here in this case he is married. That's why just now when I mentioned, Okay, assuming here he is married, so that's 4. This is not considered as his immediate family. Okay, this is not considered as his immediate family. Alright, but if let's say question mentioned that he is single, then this will be considered as a if he's single, then it will be considered as her immediate family. Okay, alright, so that's the reason why, because the definition of immediate family from income tax. Sekejap. Okay. Sorry. Rephrase balik. I rephrase back. According to public ruling, if you refer to textbook page 16, para 3.3b. Okay, if you refer to para 16, page 16, para 3.3b. Okay, if you were to read that para under B, according to the public ruling, PR is public ruling, Public ruling 11/2017. Okay, the definition of immediate family members is included spouse, children, and parents. So that means this one will be considered as a social visit, which is allowable. Mana tadi? 17, so it will be here, right? So this will be 42 until 24. So here will be 10, 11 days. Okay, so 91 days, no change. Right here, 95. So your answer for this still remain the same. Okay, because here you cannot still establish your consecutive. But for the purpose of computation long period just now, this should be included. Okay, is that answer your question? Siapa yang bertanya?
Yes.
Bila
So
I
for year 2018,
yeah, 2018. Okay.
He went back to Britain for take care his ill father. So that will.
That one is not considered as a social visit. No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That one because question here mentioned here, he resigned. Okay, he resigned and returned to Britain. So at that point of time, we actually assuming that he is actually going back for good. Okay, he is going back for good. Okay.
Okay,
right.
Understand.
Okay, any other question?
Madam, for section 71B, if you
71B, okay.
So example 2016. Okay, so if you want to apply the section 71B, link by.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to calculate starting from 95 days and link with 44 days only.
Link by link to.
Link by sorry. 66 and 135 only, not with 264.
Tak. Because you consecutive ni meaning, remember 180, that's why I tell you just now, 182 if you divide by 30 is per month, right? Okay, so roughly you need 6 months. So if you're talking about here, link by, that means you're looking at preceding year, right? So you're actually talking from December up to July. Roughly, So, so here the indicator is like this. If you see July, you have temporary absence, okay, which is unknown, right? So here, if it is unknown, then we cannot establish there is a consecutive. But if let's say you know the temporary absence in July here and it is allowable, then you can establish the consecutive. So automatically, you know, you don't have to look for this one. Okay, so when you link by, in other words, when it is linked by, you're actually looking at your long period is actually you are looking at a period from July to December of that preceding year. If you're talking about link to, you're actually looking at January to plus minus until end of June or early June, end of June. Okay, during the following year. So these are the long period that you're looking for. These are the long period that you're looking for if you're talking about link to, because link to following year. Link by preceding year. So you're actually looking at the second half of the year. If you're talking about link to, you're looking at following year. So you're talking about the first half of the year. So you need to use your imagination a bit lah to understand that.
Okay, madam.
Boleh? Boleh ke tak boleh?
Boleh, madam.
What else? Wait Okay, it's like this lah actually. You all nampak I punya blue screen
Nampak?
Nampak.
So it is actually like this. So you have here, this is your short period. Okay, this is your short. So this is actually link to, right? So link to, this is your long period. So you're actually talking about from Jan here to June here. But if you're talking about your link by, so this is your short period. So this is link to, this is link by. So this is your short period. So here you're talking about your long period is here. This is your long period. So you're actually looking at from July to December. This is how you need to imagine. Okay, so from here, if you're talking about consecutive, for long period, for link by, actually this is the one that need to be consecutive. Okay, if you're talking about here, link to, your long period is here, right? So you're talking about your consecutive, it must be continuation here. That means there is no break in between, which is not allowable. Then when you have break like this, which is not acceptable because of the temporary absence, then you don't have the consecutive. Then you cannot establish your consecutive, that one. I mean, you cannot establish your link to. Same thing with the long link by. Okay, so that's why you have to imagine. It means because just now I'm using table, right? So if you're using the timeline like this is actually how it works. So your short period is here. This is your short period. So your consecutive to which part of the year that you're talking about. So it's about, that's why you have to look. Are you talking about link to or link by first? Is it clear or is it getting more confused?
Clear.
So you have to do exercise. So that's why exercise is actually important. That's why I say homework must do. So when you do, then only you know where you can get stuck. Because sometimes when I explain, oh look easy, sounds easy. But actually when you do, then only you know you stuck at this point, why, and so on and so on. Okay? Alright, so I hope because in this example we have all 7.1a up until 7.1d. Okay, so you can refer, because this video I will share later on in the Google Classroom. So you can refer to this video later on if you want to revise. Alright, so if you have any question, you can always ask in the WhatsApp group, or you can also PM me. Okay, it's just that I will not reply promptly lah, but I will normally try to reply all the questions that posted by students. Okay, so that's why after this, you can actually start to download all the past questions. Okay, start doing exercises, and you have your tutorial questions. So please do all questions, though we are not able to discuss all. So after you attempt that and you still get stuck, then you can always ask me. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. So any more question? Let me check the chat. I forgot to check the chat. Okay, chat no question. Okay, chat no question. Oh, ada. In the event, the amount is never paid as it. Okay. Chelsea, no, it never cease. Okay, it never cease. Whatever the amount exceed, the payment, it will be carried forward or refund. Why TA for, okay, I already answered this. Okay, any more question, everyone? Okay, so if there is no question, it's already close to 1. All right, we have come to the end of the class for today. So next class, we are going to go into which topic? Next class, we are going into employment income. Okay, we are going into employment income. We are done with the resident status. Okay, so you can start reading your chapter 4 of your employment income. I will so next week I will share with you the what's this recorded lecture on the employment income, and also I will give you another tutorial question on employment income. So please do your homework. And again, I will see you again on Wednesday, same time, to discuss the exercise. Okay? All right. So if there is no more question, therefore I will end for today's class with Tasbih, Kifrara, and Surah Wa'as. Thank you everyone for joining today's class. Hope you're able to understand everything that I explained to you. Okay, so all the best. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, madam.
Madam,
Yes.
Can we have the answer for the other exercise?
I did not give, okay. Whichever text lecturer, we never share solutions to the exercise. Okay, so what you need to do, you can attempt the question, and if you are really not sure, then you can check with me. Okay, because we don't want students to study backward. And in fact, sometimes for certain question, because every year change the law, right? So we can't afford to change all the answer every time. So that's why we never share the solutions for past question. That's the reason. Okay, because the law change every year. All right?
Okay, thank you, madam.
Okay, so please do, if you have any, if you start whatever, you can always PM to P. Yeah? All right, so thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam. Thank you, madam.
Salam.